Hello, and welcome to the 85th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, all the way from the sunny UK, and today we're here to talk to you about Professor Layton and the Curious Village, released for that delightful little clamshell, the Nintendo DS. If you are just here for the game chat, look, I've got a little clue for you, see if you can figure it out. If you skip about 20 or so minutes down the line, you'll find the game chat there, and that's the only hint I'm going to give you. That said, we do encourage you to stick around and listen to our intro, because we get to get some plugs out of the way, we get to talk to some of our Patreons, field some wild and wacky questions, and generally have some fun, so stick around, have fun with us. So, you can find all of our social medias at linktree/Retrotopia, that's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. Find your social media platform of choice, like it, follow it, and show it to a friend. Why not? Get some word of mouth going. You can also find links to our TeePublic page, where we've got a couple of designs you can pop on a t-shirt, or mugs, or cups, or, well, whatever else they've got on there. Check them out, because Brian's just put up a new design for a t-shirt there, and I think it's absolutely fantastic and can't wait to get one myself. Of course, if you would like to get involved with Retrotopia, you can join our Patreon. Now listen, you can join it for free, you can gain access to all of our extra shows, you can listen to our quick play mini review episodes where either Sam, Brian or myself will pick a game and review it very, very briefly, or, better yet, review one of the games that the Hero tier Patreons have picked, but we'll get there in a minute. You can listen to Retro Bites, our gaming discussion show, a good 15 days early with an extra topic exclusive to the Patreons. And you can do things like vote in polls, comment on the episode, comment on the game, ask us questions, which we'll have coming up in just a little while. All sorts of good stuff. And if you fancy supporting us at just a little bit of a higher level there, for $2 you get all of the above, you get a shout out on the show, and you also get to pick a quick play game and throw it at a host of your every time, host of your choice. You can throw a game at the host of your choice. I'll get that right one day. You can throw a game at the host of your choice and get them to review it for you. Either, kind of a reward or punishment as you see fit. And something that is available to Patreons of any level, of course, is our Q&A section, I suppose you can call it. Our 9-bit banter box. And like a good stovepipe hat and the impeccable manners of Professor Layton, it is culturally elegant. Alright then, let's get into this. We've got quite a few to get through today, so I'm going to blitz through some of these. First up on the banter box, we have Blue Yoshi 94, who says, "First time writing into the show, my question is, which video game character would you most like to throw a lemon at, and why?" Well, first of all, Blue Yoshi 94, welcome, thanks for joining us, and thank you for kicking us off with such a brilliant question. Who would I most like to throw a lemon at? There are a few. I mean, I don't want to go back to the Mass Effect well too often, but Ashley Williams instantly jumps to mind because she's a massive space racist, and you should always throw a lemon at a racist if you have a chance. Kai Leng, Mass Effect, I can't tell you why, just in case, because spoilers. And then I was thinking, like, real pieces of shit, like I think Edgar Ross from Red Dead Redemption or Handsome Jack from Borderlands, and then I just realised, you know what, no, because throwing a lemon at someone is fairly harmless, and all of these people kind of deserve worse than that. So I started to think, well, who pisses me off but only to a sort of lemon throwing level? Do you know what? I'm going to go with, this might be a bit of a pull, but Eric Sparrow from, and I want to say it's Tony Hawk's Underground. Those of you who know are probably right there with me, because this piece of shit rides your coattails the whole way through the game and then stabs you in the back in order to take all of the glory. And I'd throw the entire fucking lemon tree at that prick. Never mind just one lemon. So there you go, just a few ideas, and thank you very much for the question, Yoshi. Really appreciate it. Moving on, we've got Mr. Hooley, who says, Alan, guess what? Today is your lucky day and you can now cast a spell from Harry Potter. Wand free, and you can use the spell as much as you want. What spell would you choose to have at your disposal? Avada Kedavra. No, God, that's a good question. I do love the Harry Potter series, and there are a few that I would like. Reparo is a good one, I think. Because if anything breaks, I can just, car reparo, kitchen sink reparo, just stuff like that. Very useful. Revelio, I think it's called Revelio, because I'm always losing shit. I have no idea where I put things down, so the ability to sort of reveal, or even Accio something, that would be great, wouldn't it? Just like Accio can of beer, and just have it fly out the fridge into your hand. But I think if I could bend the rules a little bit, I'm going to choose... Can I have the Time Turner? Is that considered a spell? I mean, it's magic. It's kind of a spell. My intro, I'm having it. Because with the Time Turner, I could be in multiple places all at the same time and just get through my backlog. Like, however many times as fast. 3-4 times as fast. I'd probably break the space-time continuum, but that's a small price to pay. Thank you, Mr. Hooley. So, next up we have Guy Who Does Things, and the thing that the guy is doing is saying, Hello Alan, I asked Brian what movie he'd pick if he could only watch one movie for the rest of his life. Now I put the question to you. Which one movie for the rest of your life? And it can't be Eddie Murphy's Christmas with the Clumps. Do you know what? I've never actually seen that film, and if it was going to be any Christmas film, it was going to be the greatest Christmas film of all time, which, as we all know, is The Muppets Christmas Carol. I will brook no argument on this, but it's going to be neither. I don't know. I suppose the highbrow answer would be something like Shawshank Redemption, because I can watch that film day in, day out. Doesn't matter where I am in the film. If I see it on TV, I'm going to carry on watching it. But I think I'd have to go for... I don't know, a childhood staple. I mean, Back to the Future springs to mind. It may not be the classiest choice, but I'm not the classiest guy. So I just love those films. Back to the Future basically informed everything that I would become in my life. So yeah, I'm going to go with Back to the Future. Thanks, Guy. Blaine the Hoagie Man says, if you had 6 arms just like Gilgamesh, which bladed weapons from fiction would you have in each one? They don't only have to be from video games. Okay, right, 6 fantasy swords. Well, a lightsaber is a lock, that's number 1. What else? The Master Sword, easy, that's got to be number 2. What else? You know what? I was thinking of something from Final Fantasy, and the obvious choice would be Cloud's Buster Sword, but I think I'm going to have to go for the Gunblade, because it looks cool and is hopelessly impractical, but I just kind of love it. I'm a big fan of that sword. What else? Oh, the Soul Reaver. Come on, number 4. That should have been number 1. Soul Reaver is number 4. If you've been listening to this show, you know why. Shit. What else? Oh, can I have the Dagger of Time? Would that count? That's almost a sword. The Dagger of Time from the Sands of Time trilogy, Prince of Persia, because I always like the idea of having a bit of control over time. Rewind, that'd be good. And number 6. Something from a book, I think. Maybe, I don't know, one of Dritzt's swords from R.A. Salvatore, Icing Death, probably. Or, I want to say, I'm a bit rusty on my Lord of the Rings, Anduril? Is that the Flame of the West or the Light of the West? I can't remember. One of those two to fill out the 6th slot. And I've definitely forgotten something which I'll remember later and kick myself for. Moving on. The big deal says, in a scenario where Sam has to leave the podcast due to not having achieved the rank of captain, who do you and Brian replace him with? Another captain or a Tennille? Well, we couldn't have 3 captains. That's just ridiculous because we need a Tennille to break a deadlock. You've seen Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, if there's a vote on everything, every pirate lord votes for themselves. We'd never get anything done. So we need someone for shit to roll downhill on. That being said, Sam is invaluable to the podcast. He is our sex appeal. There's no way that we would ever get rid of him. However, if we had to, I'm going to replace him with one of his beagles, if that's allowed. Because, you know, you might hear them every once in a while on the show and they're part of the family, and, you know, I just like dogs. So we're going to replace Sam with, you know what, can we have 2 beagles for 1 Sam? I think that's a fair trade. Thank you. Okay. Sergeant Ombre says, hello, Mr. Allen. Since we're talking about a man and a curious village this episode, I picked 3 villages that you have to live in 1, visit 1, and raise 1. Your villages are Kakariko Village from Ocarina of Time, Kingdom of Zeal from Chrono Trigger, or Mahogany Town from Pokemon Gold/Silver. I thought this was actually a very, very difficult question at first, and then I thought about it for a little bit, and I realised actually this is very, very simple. First off, I'm going to raise the Kingdom of Zeal to the ground from Chrono Trigger, because as much as I love Chrono Trigger, Zeal is a very xenophobic and class-based society. You know, they're snobbish magic users who are borderline racist to non-magic users, so I haven't got time for that. Burn it down. Burn it down. Bit of Seth Rollins there. Where I flip-flopped was on Kakariko and Mahogany Town. I love The Legend of Zelda, but Kakariko Village, it seems like a kind of dangerous world. I mean, there looks like there's a lot to do in Kakariko, so I'm going to visit there with the option of coming home if shit hits the fan. I wouldn't want to live there because, you know, Hyrule is dealing with bullshit on a regular basis. And that just leaves Mahogany Town that I'm going to live in because it's Pokemon. I get to live in a world of Pokemon. I can go on my very own Pokemon adventure. And what kid who grew up in the 90s doesn't want to do that? I mean, come on. Obvious choice, living in Pokemon. Thank you very much, Sergeant Hombre. And finally, Game Genius says, good day, sir. We always talk gaming, but I thought I'd switch it up a bit. What is your favourite book? Mine is probably Stephen King's Salem's Lot. I love horror and vampires, and my mum always read Stephen King and Dean Koontz when I was young. Currently, I'm reading Leviathan Wakes, a sci-fi horror action book, and this trilogy inspired the show The Expanse. Fantastic first 2 seasons of the 4. Anyway, have a great day, hip hip cheerio and all that. Cheerio to you too, Game Genius. I love books, I'm a big fan. I love my R.A. Salvatore, Forgotten Realms stuff. I'm a big fan of Dune and that series. Growing up, Jurassic Park was probably my favourite book, but I'm gonna have to agree with you. It's not Salem's Lot, but I think I would have to say one of, if not all, of the Dark Tower series. And if I had to pick one, I mean, that's hard to do, but I'd probably say The Drawing of the Three. Absolutely incredible world building that pulls on all, well, not all, but most of King's other works and just basically ties everything together. Even stories that you wouldn't think are connected are all connected. You know, all things serve the beam. What I would say though, if you are a fan of vampires, maybe check out The Passage by, I want to say, Justin Cronin. I think that's his name, which is, it's almost, it kind of reads like The Stand, but it's a more biological take on like vampires, that they are the plague, and kind of has this wonderful sort of jump between the outbreak and then sort of like 100 or so years later, and humanity is dealing with what's left. Absolutely brilliant book. But I digress. I've gone on long enough. Thanks everyone for writing in, as always. That was brilliant. What have I been up to? Well, I finally got round to playing a bit more of Silent Hill 2 Remake last night. I just did the Toluca prison and am now in the labyrinth, and it's horrifying. You know, they've done a great job just translating that over into the remake. I fucking love Silent Hill. We have to do an episode of that one day. Um, what else? I'm playing Pokemon Violet as sort of my handheld lunchtime at work game, and convinced by several members of our Discord, I have decided to start playing Monster Hunter World, which is a very daunting task. I'm not very far into it, but so far I can see the appeal. This game just seems absolutely ginormous and a bit overwhelming, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to experimenting with it. And that's about everything that I'm doing. So I guess that just leaves me to hand over to me for this thing, the gentleman's interlude, whatever. Good day there, my dear friend. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Professor Herschel Layton, gentleman archaeologist and puzzle enthusiast. Today I shall recount the curious tale of one of my earliest adventures, Professor Layton and the Curious Village, originally crafted by the brilliant minds at Level 5 and released for the Nintendo DS. The year was 2007. Specifically, the game first graced the shelves of Japan on February 15th, before crossing the oceans to reach North America on February 10th, 2008, and later Europe on November 7th, 2008. It was developed by Level 5, a distinguished Japanese studio renowned for weaving stories rich with mystery and intellect, and published by Nintendo, a company synonymous with innovation in gaming. In this delightful mystery, I am summoned to the quaint village of Saint Mystere, an enigmatic place renowned for one peculiarity above all, the golden apple, an artifact so precious it drives the village's baroness to offer a substantial reward for its discovery. But the village is no ordinary hamlet. It harbours riddles and puzzles that confound even the keenest of minds. Accompanying me is my loyal apprentice, Luke Triton, a bright young lad with a knack for puzzle solving and an eagerness to learn. Together we navigate the village's winding streets and eccentric inhabitants, each encounter presenting a unique challenge. From logic puzzles to brain teasers, this game offers over 120 puzzles designed to stimulate the mind and reward perseverance. The narrative unfolds with a charming blend of mystery and warmth, told through beautifully rendered animated cutscenes with a distinct hand-drawn aesthetic. The story is peppered with subtle humour and moments of genuine intrigue, encouraging players not only to solve puzzles but to piece together the village's secrets. Gameplay is intuitive, making full use of the Nintendo DS's touchscreen capabilities. Players interact directly with puzzles by tapping, sliding, and dragging with the stylus, creating an immersive experience. The puzzles themselves range widely in style and difficulty, from mathematical conundrums and spatial reasoning tasks to riddles requiring lateral thinking. But what truly distinguishes Professor Layton and the Curious Village is the harmonious blend of storytelling and puzzles, a hallmark of Level 5's design philosophy. It challenges the intellect while delivering an engaging tale of mystery and friendship. To sum up, Professor Layton and the Curious Village is an invitation to sharpen one's wits and embark on a memorable journey. If you enjoy the thrill of unravelling enigmas and the charm of an engrossing story, then this adventure is tailored just for you. Now then, shall we proceed to the next puzzle? Alrighty, that's enough of that then. Now, before we actually get into the game chat itself, we like to hear what you guys think of the game. So we've got a few comments here from you guys. Super Dave says, this game got my mother into the Nintendo DS. She borrowed mine and my sister's console so often that we got her a DS Lite for Mother's Day. She became obsessed with puzzle games on the DS and was always bugging me about when Professor Layton was getting a new game. Super Dave, that is wholesome as fuck. I love that story. What is it with mums and puzzle games, by the way? Because I think, to my memory, like the only one my mum would play was Columns, which is, I guess, another puzzle game. So I don't know, mums, they're just smart. Mums are smart, and so is yours. Uh, Shark Bite says, fantabulous puzzle game. This was the first one in the series I completed. Puzzles were clever and interesting. It is fantabulous. The puzzles are clever and interesting. I agree. I'm not very smart though, so they're a bit too clever for me, but we'll get into it. Blaine the Hoagie Man says this game series is fun and was able to pick up. I'm assuming I was able to pick up Diabolical Box from a co-worker because I no longer own these after getting divorced from the first wife. Ah, Blaine, I'm sorry to hear that. It's always tough when you lose things in a situation like that, but yeah, I'm glad you managed to pick one up again. Thanks for sharing. And the big deal says, I know absolutely nothing about this game, but based on the art, this appears to star a duo with quite a sense of fashion. Would you recommend playing this game if the characters were not wearing hats? I don't think it'd be quite the same game if the characters weren't wearing hats, because, a gentleman always wears a hat. All right, guys. Thanks as always for writing in. We absolutely love hearing from you. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed this one. But without further ado, why don't you grab a pen and paper, make sure you've got enough hints to go round, and come and try and solve the mystery of Professor Layton and the Curious Village with us, released for the Nintendo DS back in 2008. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the show. And we are back to talk about Professor Layton and the Curious Village for the Nintendo DS. And with me to crack the case, of course, as usual, is my good friend, the Professor himself, Brian. And over in the other corner, it's the boy, Sam.
Yes.
How's it going?
Boy.
Do you know, literally, I just came up with that, and I was just, as it was coming out of my mouth, do you know what I thought of? I thought of Zap Brannigan. Have the boy lay out my formal shorts.
I'm the boy, or whatever, yeah.
How's it going, fellas? How you doing?
Who can complain with an intro like that? I'm doing great. I am the professor.
You are.
And
you
I'm
are
the boy!
Well, it kind of fits. I mean, because, Brian, I consider this to be sort of the game that you've brought to the table here. You know, you are the professor here. You're the expert in Layton. You've played them all. You've got experience with this series. I mean, tell us about it.
I haven't played them all. I'm missing, I think, one or two. Like, I just realized, because when I stopped picking up 3DS titles, I believe I kind of missed one. And then when I was on a trip to Edmonton, I thought I actually grabbed the one I was missing, but it turned out I grabbed one I already owned, which I was going to send to Sam as a gift, but I can't find it in my house anymore, so... wait for that one, Sam.
Oh, no gifts
but
for
I have
Sam.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 of them.
Nice.
So I'm missing I'm missing a couple.
That's
okay.
But yeah.
That's nuts. Did you play this when they came out? Like,
yeah. Oh, I bought this day one. This I love puzzle games and I love you know how much I always tout stories. So a story game where you go solve puzzles would just seem perfect for me. Plus, I like level 5 as a developer. And this just had everything going for it. So, I bought it day one, and I loved it, and it just got me hooked on the series.
what else does level 5 do? I was not familiar with that developer.
I was going to ask.
They do a lot of RPGs. Give me a second.
Oh, that explains it.
That scratches that tickles my pickle.
Yeah, they I have a couple of them sitting. They did Dark Cloud, Dragon Quest 8.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
Okay.
Professor Layton's.
All right.
They did Dragon Quest 9. And another Professor Layton. A lot of Japanese games. Girls RPG Cinder Life for the Nintendo 3DS.
That sounds.
No idea what it is. No, I will be taking. Yeah, I'll be taking no questions from this point
that
on.
sounds horny.
Yeah.
You've got Sam's attention.
We still we still got to play one of those like one of those hentai games.
I don't know why.
I guess.
Like, let's do it next February there during Sex Month. So.
Sure. Sex month.
Well,
that's
positive. Hey,
that's
speaking
every
of speaking of positivity, I just want to say happy Pride to all our friends out there who's celebrating the Pride Month.
Yeah, happy Pride Month.
Oh,
I'm wearing my Brewers Pride hat today.
Oh, nice.
And I am wearing no shirt right now because it's 31 degrees and I am sweating. So that's for the fellas.
That screams.
I'll be honest.
Nice bear.
I completely forgot it was June. So.
Yeah. Well, my message just turned a bunch of gay men straight.
and maybe a few straight men going.
Yeah, just everyone's just switching teams here.
I'm considering it. Sam, you're brand new to this series, right?
Yeah. I liked it.
So you and there you go, guys. That's it. Podcast over.
There we go.
Sam liked it. Brian's played it. That's it. Yeah, no, I was the same. Like Brian, you were just going on about this series, and for some reason, you bewitched me into just leaving my house and going down to my local game store where I found I think it was the first 3 for like £15.
They're very reasonable,
and
I mean, like,
oh yeah,
in the early days of the podcast.
Well, they're not big collector's items.
No.
These are play it once and you're good to go. Like I have Curious Village on my phone, and I have another one on my phone as well. And they're perfect phone games because I got a stylus for mine.
Oh, nice.
It works so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the sort of games that just work so perfectly on a portable system, be it a phone or be it a Nintendo DS, 3DS or what have you. It's just, they're very, well, I mean, I can only speak to one of them, of course, but it's very pick up and play. Just do a quick couple of puzzles while you're waiting for a bus or something. It's
and that's what's nice about this series is they don't stray too far from this formula that works really well. They add a little bit as you go along,
nice.
But they don't change the formula, so to speak. The things that make it charming as it is.
Yeah, okay. I really do like this formula, and like in the early days of the podcast is when I first was kind of thinking about playing this game, and I went out to the game shop and it was like, oh wow, there's like a fuck ton of these, and they're all like $10-15. I mean, they're loose, but whatever. Like I don't give a shit. Like give me all.
I feel like I was ripped off.
Yeah,
because the one I bought in Edmonton there was $50.
Was it really? I wonder
Jesus.
if some of them are more rare than others. Like just like how, you know, games towards the end of a life cycle of a system, if it's like a 2DS game or something, you know, like Curious Village is the first one, and it's in a, you know, it was in the 2DS heyday. I'm sure there's, you know, a ton of those copies.
Yeah.
So
I think it also comes down to how many of them sell,
right?
Because the more of them that sell, the more there are out there in the wild. So that's got to be a factor as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I know one of the cute little things about this is some of the games are actually named differently in Europe than they are in North America.
I noticed that.
Next game in the series, which we call Diabolical Box, will be called Pandora's Box over there.
Oh.
Yep.
And then after that, the one I have doubles of, we call Unwound Future, and then it's called Lost Future, and then Last Spectre or Spectre's Call. That kind of crap. Like, we can't just, sync up, have a meeting about this or something and say, hey, let's just, call it the same thing. We're all writing it in English.
I wonder what the reason for that is.
It's a mystery.
You know, usually when something originates in England and then comes over here, they have to change the name of it to either make it more palatable for U.S. audiences or because they think we're dumb. Like, Led Zeppelin has to be spelled the way it is because they thought we were stupid and we're going to pronounce it lead or something. And, you know, Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, like
that's the one.
Yeah, like, so I was about to make the joke. Like, the second game is actually called Professor Layton and the Philosopher's Stone.
I wonder if, Pandora's Box. I mean, it's kind of a European myth, I think, isn't it? Pandora's Box.
Yeah,
so maybe that's it. Maybe they just went a little closer to home. I don't know.
I've always loved Pandora's Box, the whole open it up and all the evils of the world, and then you close it for hope. It's a heartwarming story of not being really heartwarming, I guess.
No, and if somebody is out there with Pandora's Box right now, can you fucking close that thing? Because we've had enough.
Yeah, God.
Come on.
God damn, how do a courtesy flush?
All right.
I'm kind of wondering now if there's a porn named Pandora's Box.
Absolutely, probably there is. Brian, please don't go looking because you can't deal with any more viruses.
God
on
damn
your
this
computer.
broken Wi-Fi! I'd be searching for that.
Searching for it like he hasn't got it on the shelf already.
Maybe.
Let's see. Safe search is off. Pornhub, Pandora's Box, porn videos.
Jeez, are we really doing this?
Oh, there's
This was
a Pandora's Box too.
This was such a classy subject.
Is that a Street Fighter situation where like no one talks about Pandora's Box 1? It's like Pandora's Box 2 is the
Oh dear. So
yeah.
Talking about gentlemen and classy things for just 1 minute, guys. Let's get into. No. Poor choice of words. I was going to say let's get into Professor Layton. Let's not. Brian,
Yes.
you're the expert on Professor Layton, and you've already discussed that there is a game missing somewhere in your house that you need to find in order to send to Sam. Which ties in quite nicely because the whole point of this game is there is something in this village of San Mystere that you need to find. That is the clunkiest segue I could come up with.
That's pretty good.
I think it works. Thank you. I think it works. So Brian,
I give it a good 9 out of 10.
Oh, lovely. And that's it for Alan's Segway podcast. No, Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's actually going on in this game? Set the scene, set the table.
Well, you are a man named Professor Layton from London. I was about to say London, Ontario, but sorry, London, UK. And you have a boy you kidnap from the Lolita Express named Luke. And you drag him around all over the world away from his parents for some reason. And in this case, you're headed to a village called Saint Mystere, which you've been invited to mysteriously to find the inheritance that is hidden somewhere in the village called the Golden Apple. The game starts with no more than a simple clue of where you need to go first. And from there, you unlock every little piece of the puzzle, so to speak, as you progress through 9 chapters.
Mm-hmm. Beautifully done. And yeah, I love that, like right from the hop, while you're in the car with Luke heading to this village, you have just that little puzzle just to try and figure out where the village is. And I think that was such a brilliant way to set the scene. Because honestly, I did not know exactly what to expect with this game. I knew it was a puzzle game, but I had no idea how that was going to like take shape. And that first puzzle is just such a nice way of like giving you a kind of boost to your confidence. It's just like, yeah, it's just a nice easy one, solve it, and you're just like, wow, I can do this. Yeah, this is going to be a pinch. And then the rest of the game happens.
Yeah, I like these kinds of puzzles. When I'd first graduated college, I thought maybe about pursuing a law degree, and I ended up not doing that because it's a whole thing, and I wasn't into it. But to study for the entrance exam is a lot of like little logic puzzles, exactly like are in this game. So I was like, yeah, I'm like right at home doing these, like I'm doing test prep, but like these are like fun little brain teasers. That was one aspect of like considering going into the legal profession that I enjoyed, was like doing little logical brain teasers to kind of like just keep your brain in shape. And that's a lot of what this game is. And it's funny to me that like you go to this village and everyone's obsessed with puzzles. Like,
yeah.
Hey, I have a puzzle for you, and then I'll tell you something. It's like, oh, could you just tell me?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it sounds clunky, and yet somehow it just works.
Yeah, it does.
Just, like it just fits so well.
Especially from some of the stuff you learn at the end, it's like, oh, that kind of makes some of this stuff kind of tracks with how kooky some of these characters are. But I don't want to spoil stuff right off the bat, so maybe we can.
No.
Maybe we could talk about like some mild spoiler stuff towards the end. But yeah,
Well,
it ends up making sense.
I think as we progress through this conversation, I believe we're going to end up spoiling more than we want to, only because you really can't talk about a Professor Layton game, and the charm is more in the puzzles than it is in the story itself. I mean, you don't really solve the chapter by chapter mysteries. You just kind of progress to the story to a certain point, and it tells you what's going on. Then it stamps. It's like, you solved this part.
That was maybe
yeah.
That was like a mild gripe for me, because it was like, I keep accumulating these. You have these puzzles. Obviously you're tracking puzzles. And there's other different like little bits and bobs that you can like. Collect like stuff for the rooms that they're staying in, or bits of this portrait that you can assemble like a jigsaw puzzle or whatever. And then it's like, oh, where's the crank for the gate or whatever? And then that becomes a mystery. And then it's like it just keeps like a running tally of your open mysteries, but not how you can solve them. So I was just towards the end of the game, I hadn't solved anything. I was like, how the fuck do I solve these? Like, I'm going to go look for this crank, but that's not really how the game works. And it was just kind of odd.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I agree with that, because the whole time, I'm sort of sitting there with that in the back of my mind. It's just like, well, is there something I'm supposed to be hunting for? Do I need to like find these? It's just like, why? I understand like seeding all of these mysteries throughout the game, but it sort of felt like I was playing it wrong. But it doesn't. It's kind of, I guess, the game's way of saying, well, look, this is important. You need to remember this plot point, I guess. But it is kind of a strange way of going about it.
It was, yeah. Like towards the end, it was just like a little bit of dialogue, and they'd kind of resolve something, and then it would like go into the screen and stamp it complete. And it was just like right at the end, it was like stamp, 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 stamp. It's like, oh, cool.
I did it.
Yeah, I suppose.
But I mean, like I said earlier,
right.
It's about the puzzles. It's not so much about solving these mysteries. It would have been sure nice to kind of have to figure it out, but you kind of have to figure out where you have to go as well to move the story forward. But what I really like about the game is every screen you go into, you search because you want to find all the puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
And I checked my phone earlier today to see how many of the puzzles I actually completed on my last run, because I did this with Retro Wars like a year ago. And I had all the puzzles completed on my phone. So I went and tapped every friggin' square inch of that little town and found all the hint coins and all the puzzles that I could find.
Every screen I got in, I would just take my little stylus and I would just tap, 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 like the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and those hint coins, which are pivotal to solving some of the harder puzzles, there's usually 3 per screen, and they're always... Once you start to realize where they're often hidden, it becomes one of those things where you can almost like just see it when you get into a new screen. It's like, oh, there's a window on that building. You tap it and a coin pops out. It's like, oh, light shade or a lamp on that desk, and you tap it and coin pops out.
You know what? That's true, actually. I didn't even realize that I done that, but you're absolutely right. You do sort of get a feel for where these things. I mean, at one point I think I just tapped a chimney on a building in the distance, and a hint coin came out of it. And I was just like, well, how did I know that was going to be there? You see get a
bush, you tap it and the coin pops out. It's like, it becomes a sixth sense.
Yeah,
absolutely. You become a good detective yourself.
Yeah, you kind of are able to pick out those elements in the design of the screen that suggest that maybe there's a coin in there. Then also like the stuff that you would find, it's not always coins. It's sometimes there's a puzzle like just kind of randomly embedded into the screen that you're on. And I always found I always found that like, towards the beginning of the game, you get like, what do you call them? Picarets or picarats?
Picarets, yeah.
Pie carrots?
Yeah.
Picarets. And that I guess is just your score. And then if you guess incorrectly on a puzzle, they'll deduct a couple of picarets. So like one will be worth 10. And then if you guess wrong, then it'll take a couple off and you can solve it for 8 or whatever. And the picarets are the difficulty, basically the puzzle. They go between 10 and 70, which are the hardest. There might have been an 80 in there too, but that was I always found like just kind of tapping around the screens was a way to find extra ones that were a little bit more difficult than maybe where you were at in the story. Like, you're getting 10s and 20s and maybe the odd 30, and then you tap this random door or whatever. It's like, here's a fun puzzle, and it's like 50 or like a 60. It's like, oh man, this is going to be a doozy.
That was a perfect Luke.
Oh yeah. Oi, professor! Oi, professor! Here's one.
Professor.
Yeah.
I found a puzzle in the wall.
What were your favorite kinds of puzzles? Like, because there were definitely some themes, like, things based around like visuals of different shapes, different like logic puzzles of, little boys telling lies and who's lying and that kind of thing. So did you guys have like a specific type of puzzle that you liked the best?
I did, actually.
Not particularly me. Like, sorry to cut you off, Alan. My story's a lot shorter, but I kind of liked.
How do you fucking know?
Puzzles.
You liked them all?
Well, because I'm pretty much done. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Sam, the highest pick rat puzzle is 99. One puzzle called the Royal Escape.
Oh shit.
Oh jeez.
Wait.
I don't know if I did that
the
one.
The Royal Escape, is that the one with the big square block and you're trying to get it out? It's like in the tower, I think. Towards the end.
Yeah, you have to slide all the blocks around to get the red block out the side.
That one was worth 99. God. That almost took me 1,000 moves to figure out. I was like sitting there and I was like,
right?
I was sitting there and I was like, I'll be fucked if I'm resetting this thing now, because I feel like I've actually made progress. But you get stuck in these like feedback loops where you're moving these like pieces around. And then finally I got it to move and I figured it out. But I was like, man, I am just shy of having moved 1,000, like made 1,000 moves, and I've only been doing this for like 10 minutes, so I'm just sitting there like frantically, like with the stylus, like it was.
See, Alan, mine was short, and it's just Sam was long.
Well, that's very telling. I did like those sliding puzzles, although I mean they were frustrating because they don't seem like they should be as difficult as that. Do they? It's just, if you move this thing around enough times, logic dictates that you're going to find the way out eventually. But I would always just end up getting everything back to the way it started and just be like, fuck. I think my favourites, though, were probably those logic puzzles where you have to figure out who's lying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, I sort of enjoyed... And it's sort of a thing ever since I watched The Labyrinth back as a kid. Do you remember that film?
Oh, with David Bowie? Yeah.
That's the one. And you got those two guys with the shields and she has to figure out which one is lying to go. And I've been obsessed with that kind of thing since watching that film because I could never figure that out. And still to this day, I'm not 100% sure how it's done. But I kind of enjoyed trying. And, these were a good deal easier, I think. But
some of them, though, were like... some of the logic puzzles in this game, I feel like stretched a little bit and forced you to make assumptions that weren't apparent. Like, well, since it's a Tuesday, it's like, where did this come from? That's a poor example, but it's just like, I don't enjoy logic puzzles that force you to use outside information. I like all the information to be there in the clue, but I guess, I don't know, that makes them more easy maybe, or what, I don't know.
I would agree with you if I was 100% convinced that it wasn't just me being dumb.
Well, I did. I picked one of the puzzles on my phone today just to kind of give myself a quick refresher. And the puzzle I picked actually involved 6 people, 6 brothers, increasing in age from 1 to 6, 1 being the oldest, 6 being the youngest.
Yep.
And you couldn't sit them around the table by progressive age. So 1 couldn't sit next to 2, 2 couldn't sit next to 1 and 3, etc., and so on.
Oh yeah.
Then it said 5 and 3 were also fighting, so they can't sit next to each other, which added an extra element to it. And I kind of sat there and I became low key. I'm not obsessed, but I blocked out the world because I was sitting having lunch at a restaurant, and I just kind of blocked everything out, and I started putting it together. And as I put everybody around and moving them and trying to figure out how it worked, I just realized how enjoyable it was just to do something like that, where I don't have to submit an answer or a guess. I can kind of visually look at it as I work the answer out. When I'm sure about it, then I submit it.
Yeah, I like that too. And I like the ones that have that visual element where you're actually like picking up the numbers and placing them around a table so you can see, where it's like just a picture and then it's like, where does this one need to go or whatever. Like how many of this, like the math problems fucking pissed me off. And I think, I mean,
for sure.
I mean, there were a few that I think like maybe I attempted or kind of like started to look at. But it's like, you know, at the point where I have to get out a pen and paper and like start to do figures or like calculate a rate, it's like, no, fuck you. Like this is a DS game for kids. Like what are we doing asking them to like figure out the fuck rate of a bunch of rats or like there was that one sucked.
Yeah.
That one sucked.
Going along your point there, Sam.
Yeah.
Using the hint coins there, the first clue is always fucking useless.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's like I've already.
It's the second clue that gives you a hint without giving the answer. The first clue is just kind of like, hey, you used a hint clue. Congratulations. Here's nothing.
Yeah, there was a math problem towards the end, and I just right away I was just like hint coin, like get me started on this because I don't even feel like fucking with math right now. It's like the second to last puzzle in the game, and like just give me the answer so I can move on.
It's like hint coin number 1. Make sure your DS is open and you are looking at it with open eyes.
Yeah,
It's
no
like,
shit. Yeah,
I was already doing that.
Yeah.
But Brian, what you said back there is I think it's really interesting. It's just, you know, shutting off the world and just trying to solve these puzzles. And I think that's exactly what a puzzle game should do, right? It just puts you in your own little world just for a minute. It's just you and the puzzle, and I kind of love that about this. It's just like you can lock in and focus, and I think that's why I enjoyed the logic puzzle so much. Like, you know, the ones where you have to figure out who paid who or who lent who money and stuff like that. And the math ones can die in a fire, though, because numbers are not my forte.
If it's a true riddle, that's fine. But like the main example of the one I was thinking of was like a rat has 12 babies a month, and they only can have more babies after 2 months. So how many rats do you have after a year? It's like, go fuck yourself. Are you kidding me? That's such a, I mean, there is probably a simple shortcut for it, but oh my God.
But the thing about that is the answer is obvious. Like if you just double it up all the time until the years run out, but what they want you to do is forget about the original rat. So I remember those ones because it's always that little thing where it's like, oh, seems too easy. And like you've just done the simple math and then you put the answer in and it's like, nope. And you got to really think about it. But it's always that one little element inside of the riddle that you forgot.
Right.
And so it's not so much a math thing. It's more of a look for the finer details.
Like
I loved the answer to that one because I ended up getting out a calculator and trying it, and I was up to like 12,000 odd fucking rats or what have you. And then when I found out the actual answer to that puzzle, because afterwards I was like, oh, hang on, and then put in the real answer, I was just like, that's clever. I mean, I'm not going to spoil the answer here, but just like that is actually really clever.
I may need to go back to that one because that one was just like, immediately my brain went to like, okay, this is a rate, so what do I need to know, and like how am I going to calculate this out and stuff. It's like,
I'll give you one clue, Sam.
Yeah, because the clues were fucking useless.
How many rats? How many rats do you need for there to be babies?
Oh, fuck off. Are you kidding me? God damn it. I assumed so the assumption that I made was like the rat's going to just have a baby cuz why wouldn't the rat already be fucking knocked up? Jesus Christ. Fucking bullshit.
Those moments too. So many times when you finally figure out the answer, or you just fucking give up and go online and look it up. Yeah, you get that. Oh my god, that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But it's so obvious once you know the answer.
Yeah, there was one
and
like that with a Ferris wheel where it's like how many people can ride the Ferris wheel in this time, and it's like you just calculate out how many can get loaded per minute, but it's like remember it closes at this time, so you have to start to let people off without letting people on. It's like, oh no shit, god damn it.
Yeah, that tripped me up as well first time round. And it is that because you do have your assumptions going in and you just go with it. And it's just like, it's only after you fuck up the first time that you think, well, hang on, like, what have I forgotten? And it's, the clues are there.
Right.
The only problem with that is that, you always feel like a piece of shit when those picarettes start going down.
I know.
And
yeah.
To their credit, they'll only do it a maximum of 3 times.
Right.
And then you can fuck up as many times as you like. But you always hate yourself when you just like you want a perfect score every time,
you
right?
do. And it's and that sound where they get it wrong, it's like "Bow," or whatever. It's like I posted in the Discord that gif of like Dennis on Sunny getting the family fight where he's getting the buzzer for the wrong answer. He's like curled up on the floor.
I love that episode.
Don't love that sound.
Yeah, I don't know, like when you get a high picaret puzzle right on the first try though, without using any hints there's a special type like nipple tweaking going on.
Oh yeah,
that's a good feeling. You feel like a fucking genius.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Alan.
I was just saying that's what this game does. It equal parts can make you feel like an absolute genius and just make you feel thick as pig shit all in the same like half an hour session.
Oh right, like one puzzle to the next. It's like I'm an idiot, and it's like oh my god, I'm the smartest man alive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
my average playthrough right there.
Yeah, that one that I posted in the Discord last night when I was finishing the game up was like, I think even when the puzzle was loading, it was like, wow, this one's particularly challenging, and it was like ordering different cards based on different conditions, and I just like, as I was reading it through, I was placing the cards, and I was like, okay, and I submit it, and it took me like 5 seconds, and it was worth 70. I was like, this one was easy. Are you kidding?
There you go. Then he had to wait for the erection to die down.
I know, and then the next one was the math problem, and then
Yeah. That's the other thing is I found some of the harder questions to be easy and some of the easier questions to be hard. Like,
oh yeah,
I've never struggled on I struggled on some of those 30 picarat questions just because my brain could not like 3D map out what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, that.
So I would sit there and just absolutely like struggle with them, and then like you said, you get to that 70 picarat puzzle, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Done. Next.
Right.
That's it though. I mean, but I think that's a good thing. I think that's a point in this game's favor is that, everyone playing this game is going to have different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to puzzles. And the fact that there is that much variation in this game, it's just like there is kind of a little bit for everyone. There is something that's going to make people feel really clever, and there are some things that other people are really going to have to work hard at. So
yeah, there's puzzle types that you're going to dread when you see it.
Oh yeah, every time. You do kind of want to solve them all.
Yeah, I do, and even though I didn't, but yeah, in the interest of time, I was like, I could just sit here and get completely fixated on trying to solve every puzzle, but I gotta get through this and move on. But one other one that I wanted to call out that was pretty fun was there's in the restaurant. Gosh, and the names of the characters are hilarious too. Like you go to the restaurant and the guy who runs it's name is Crouton.
Oh yeah.
But there's a dude sitting at the table and he just gives you progressively harder chess questions. And those were a lot of
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
And that was another example where, like, I puzzled over this one for so fucking long because it was like he gives you more and more queens to put on this board, and they would do things like place the queens so that you cover this whole grid with their move possibilities, but without any of the queens obstructing each other, so they can't be in each other's like line of movement or whatever. And I think I got to like the second to last one, and I spent like probably a good like 15 minutes straight just trying to like move these around and get all the board covered. And then the last one was the hardest one. There were like 6 queens and even like a pretty big grid, like a whole chessboard almost. And like I solved that one within like a minute. I was like, wait, how is this one not as hard as the one before it? But those were fun.
Like for no reason, the challenge of a harder one is easier than the easier ones. Like it's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's just like what happens to click with your brain. It's like there's no way to tell like what's gonna, what you're gonna get and what you're not gonna get.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's just that moment of revelation when you know you've cracked a puzzle as well. It's just very, very rewarding.
But what did you guys think about the actual story itself? Like, basically a storybook-esque thing where you don't really have much control other than trying to find out where the next story bump is.
I liked it. I thought the story was fun. I like that sort of like Sherlock Holmes, Poirot, like just kind of parlor mystery. It was like Clue almost, like that kind of, well, like whodunit, and it's like, you got the inspector, and you got the professor, you got the rich lady, and it's just a lot of classic like mystery tropes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a whodunit, there's a murder mystery, and the game just oozes charm. And it's a puzzle game. It did not need a story. It could have just been like one of those brain training games.
Oh yeah, what Brain Age or whatever, those fucking games.
Yeah, exactly. They did okay, but the fact is that they did give you they give you incentive to keep going when some of the puzzles are maybe just like getting on your nerves, because no matter how stuck I'd get on a puzzle, I'd just be like, well, I kind of need to do this stuff because I want to see what's happening next with this story, because it's so nicely pieced out, like bit by bit. It's just like, yeah, I want to know what's going to happen next, because I want to know what is going on with this fucking village.
Yeah, but without the story, this game would not be anything near what it was.
No,
like
absolutely
you said
not.
that it doesn't need it, but I honestly believe that if these games do need this story, the story is what drives you to progress. I mean, if it was just 150 puzzles there, it would get boring after about maybe 10, 15 puzzles.
Yeah, it'd be in the...
I mean, when I say that it doesn't need it, it's just like, the puzzles are the game. The puzzles are, you could have those puzzles on their own, and it would be fine. But it's the addition of the story that just really takes it to that next level, and how it's presented as well, that just makes it special.
What do you think of the... I don't know, the hoity-toity, prim and proper Professor Layton style detective story? Like, he's always talking about manners, and a gentleman doesn't do this. Always trying to teach Luke how to be a proper man, so to speak. I mean, do you feel that is what adds the charm to the story, or is that just something that, I don't know, you could live without? You could have like a Cockney British accent.
From one gentleman to another, I'm a huge fan of Professor Layton. I liked him from the first time I laid eyes on him.
Yeah, I did too. It's like I said, it's like the Sherlock Holmes kind of trope. It's the professor and his boy, but like, but you know what I mean? Like, there's always the either the detective, or in this case the professor, who's clearly like the genius, and his protege, he's the Watson to Professor Layton's Holmes.
He's kind of the goof too, because he I'll tell you something I don't like about Luke. I don't like that Luke can talk to animals.
Can he talk to animals, or does he just have an affinity for animals?
Well, he was that fat cat. He's like, I can talk to animals, and then he sits there and goes, This is where we need to go now, Professor.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That didn't bother me.
I didn't remember that, but again, it kind of sort of fits in with that whole like whimsical Doctor Dolittle, Sherlock Holmes sort of thing. You know, I'm fine with it.
I found it just kind of took away from a little bit of the charm of the game there, because it was just kind of something to, I guess, link a piece of the mystery without having to create a character to link the piece of the mystery.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's like a almost like a Deus Ex Machina type, like just random linkage. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but you know, you've got to give him something to do because.
Well, he's a protege. He should be doing everything. Professor Layton should be teaching him by making him do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he must have seen something special in the boy.
Mm-hmm. Oi, Professor!
Probably himself, if you know what I mean.
I've just thought of a puzzle.
Boy, this dog just told me a puzzle.
Oh, that was the other one. This one doesn't bother me, but I found it kind of funny. Luke, we have to go do this right away, otherwise somebody's going to die. Oh, I have a puzzle for you.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do this. Or, hey, Luke, this dead body reminds me of a puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of it got kind of morbid until you, until you got some more information. But it's like, wow, they're really just, showing a picture of a guy with a corpse in a bag. And it's like, oh, that makes me think of a puzzle.
Walking through. It's like...
Oh, man.
Oh, God, that was funny.
The flimsiest pretext for some of these puzzles ever, but I kind of love it. It just adds to the charm, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's like
that's the part I enjoy.
Yeah, it's like a special kind of cheese that I was appreciative of.
Oh, did you mention cheese? That reminds me of this puzzle about cheese, Sam.
Jesus.
Yeah, pretty much how it goes.
How many holes are in this cheese? No, we're not going there.
Did you just come from the bathroom, Luke? It reminds me of a puzzle. Do. Johnny goes to the bathroom and has a diarrhea. Does it take 1, 2, 3, or 10 wipes for him to clear?
Actually,
he removes exactly 27% of poop every wipe.
One up, one down, and one to polish.
Yeah, pour the diarrhea into these cups so that you have exactly 4. I can't even finish that statement.
Oh my God.
Take the diarrhea from one toilet and put it in another.
Gentlemen, a gentleman never discusses shit on a podcast.
Oh, God. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Professor.
You're the gentleman. Me and Sam are the ruffians.
Oh, right. I'm the boy.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I think
we've come completely derailed.
The other charming thing that kind of tied into the story were all the visuals. I really enjoyed the animated cutscenes and just in general the kind of storybook cartoony feel. It kind of felt like a European cartoon, even though it had kind of a little bit like the cutscenes kind of had some anime aspects, and obviously this was made in Japan, so it is, I guess you could technically call it anime cutscenes, but it was kind of had a, I don't know if you ever read those like Eloise picture books, or I just got that vibe. It just gave me like like an old world Europe vibe, but like just kind of like the muted kind of brownish tones. It wasn't overly colorful, but it had that kind of painted look, and it just, I don't know. The visuals were great. Really matched the feel.
Gorgeous. And yeah, I agree. It does have that sort of old European style, but there's almost something like almost Ghibli-esque about the whole thing.
Right, yeah, that was the other. Yeah, that's where I was going. And like the tower reminded me of Howl's Castle, kind of a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, and I was like pretty blown away at first, not like, because every character is just so well animated. They all look fantastic. They all look very different from each other. There's so much effort put into the animation in this game, and then like add to that voice acting. I was like, come on.
Yeah, to take away some of that from the animation. There wasn't a lot of animation, so most of the character interactions are still frames in this game. So it's not like you get a lot of movement in the characters, because if like Professor Layton's expressing with his hands, it's going to go from one picture to the next.
Yeah.
So
but there were a few cutscenes.
There were some actual animated.
And I'm saying like I'm saying it's easy to make baller cutscenes there when you don't have a whole ton of them to do.
True.
Whereas, I like the fact that it was a storybook-esque game where you had to create expression in a comic book style manner because they couldn't do anything but be still frames. That's where I think this game shined. And like you said, like the Ghibli-esque, that's actually a great way to explain this. I didn't think about it that way. But the Ghibli-esque cartoon style is really, again, it's something that makes this game charming. Like, the puzzles are hard as hell at some point, and you're just still charmed by this game.
Did they ever make a
definitely.
full, like, anime or series or whatever for this game? Like, these animations, I was always thinking, like, I could watch a story like this, maybe minus the puzzles. It would just be like Professor Layton solving a mystery or whatever. But like, I'd watch that.
I would watch the fuck out of that show.
Yeah, that'd be charming as hell.
Definitely.
I'd throw it on for the kids. That'd be fun to watch.
They must have done.
Why is Daddy swearing?
Because
he just got a 99. He got a 99 picaret math puzzle.
Right, like these fucking rats keep fucking it. I don't know how many rats are. Fuck. Turns out they're not fucking.
No, not even one of them. It ain't February for the rats. I suppose, like, where we're talking about the presentation, we talked about the visuals and the going back to the voice acting and what have you, and basically the sound design all over. Like, what did you think of the sound design on this game?
I love the music in this game. It's very gentle, especially when you're doing a puzzle. The song is repetitive, but it's just so subtle in the background that it doesn't block your thinking or like get into your brain at all.
Right.
It just sits there and almost, I don't know, it like takes your focus and puts it on the puzzle itself if you like got the volume going. Because I found I did puzzles better with the volume up than I did with the volume off on my phone.
Really? Yeah. That is interesting.
It does.
Like, this is obviously like circumstantial evidence, but it's just how I personally felt.
It's got that lullaby quality, and it's funny because like I'd play it in bed at night, like before going to sleep, and it's like if the song was playing, it would start to put me to sleep because it just basically sounds like a lullaby, kid's lullaby.
Oh yeah, can confirm playing this like in bed before you go to sleep is you're not going to get very far.
Yeah, like
it's just that that chill.
Either I would or like if I got fixated on a puzzle though, like last night there was one I was doing. I spent a long time on it, and I was like, I'm not going to do anything or deviate my focus until I finish it. Even though that there's a lullaby in the background, so it depends. Like sometimes it would get to me and sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah, you see, I don't know, like, on the surface of it, I do like the sound design in this game, and you are right, it is very charming, but I think what you said, Brian, about that repetition, I did find on some of the harder puzzles that would become more of an annoyance than not. I mean, it's great in small doses, but when I was just getting properly worked up about a puzzle, just that endless loop of that, I genuinely had to turn it down to concentrate.
Really, because I found quite the opposite. Is the longer the puzzle went, the more it kind of faded away on its own, and it just kind of became part of the puzzle. Right, and I didn't even notice the background music at most of the time, and then I didn't notice it was playing until it ended, and it did that. The 3 pictures of Layton or Luke as you try to determine if you solve the puzzle or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I kind of my brain clicked back into there was music.
No, I guess I think it just pulled focus for me a bit, and I could have done with a little bit more variation in the music because it is on a quite noticeable loop. So,
well, it's a very, very short song too. It's probably for each loop maybe 10 seconds tops.
And the thing is, I can hear it in my head now. I finished this game weeks ago. I can actually hear the tune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really gets embedded there.
Yeah, big time. So I don't know.
I actually think that's the same music they use in every game as well.
Yeah, for fuck's sake.
Great. That's fine. I'm good with it. It didn't bother me.
No, and it, like I said, it was only on some of the more difficult puzzles anyway, so I would have been pissed off no matter what happened. So I guess
maybe you're projecting your anger onto this great music.
Well, maybe I'll project my anger on you where it belongs. How dare you disagree with me?
Well, but outside of the puzzles, the music is actually very whimsical for the. It fits the story very well. And again, I keep going back to you saying this Ghibli-esque aesthetic this game kind of mimics. And the music now reminds me of that type of Ghibli movie. Like it's no Howl's Moving Castle, but it's really well done for setting the tone of what the game wants to be. A serious mystery with a bit of whimsy and wonder to it.
Mm-hmm.
Letting you know, obviously, that this is not a serious case of CSI murder. It's going to be a fun ending.
Right.
Yeah. You know, there are moments of sort of like a mild peril, and you know, people do get quote unquote killed, but
we can't say that. You have to say unalived.
Yeah, right.
Like fuck will I? Like fuck will I? Unalived. But at no point do you feel like there is sort of an overwhelming threat, and you know, it's just relaxing for it.
Yeah, no, it's got a great soundtrack. That's all I can say about that. Voice acting is crisp.
It is lovely. I was so surprised. I mean, and I don't know why, because the DS is capable of that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, we're well into the era of full-on voice acting tracks.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. It's just, I guess we've been playing a lot of handheld games with like no voice acting or anything like that in it. It's just like, as soon as he started talking, I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. I like this guy even more now.
And he's British.
He
That's
is.
me being represented, says Alan.
Absolutely. It was like a smarter, better dressed, better looking version of me.
All you need is a top hat. I'm not going to
Yeah,
tell you.
really.
I'm not going to tell you where to
Don't
put
you
it.
guys like? Aren't
True
you guys
story.
given one when you're born?
No, true story. My wife was rooting around in the loft, I guess the loft space off the games room up there, and she found an old top hat that I completely forgot that I had.
So
to answer my question, yes, you all have top
yes,
hats.
you are issued at birth a top hat and a monocle.
They basically spawn. They
Yeah.
spawn. If you lose one, another one will just spawn. So yeah, I'll have to start wearing that more often.
And you don't smoke cigarettes just straight from the cigarette. You need to put it in one of those little holders.
Yeah.
Or like a pipe.
Or a pipe, yeah.
Oh, definitely
Would
a
also
pipe.
accept a pipe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, two types of Brit. You either have a pipe or a pint.
Both are good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, aren't you just a fancy ass?
Yes, that's why you fucking hired me, Brian.
Exactly. I just wanted people to remember.
So what else have we got to talk about? I mean, it's not the deepest game in the world. It, you know.
No, I mean, what else can you say
Yeah.
about it? Like, beautiful game. I don't know. I think I've peaked on what I have to say about this game now.
I've peeked all over the place.
It's true. I wish you'd have turned your camera off. I mean, do we want to sort of get into the sort of
I think we
mystery, or
Yeah, a little
you'll get
mild
into the
spoiler
mystery.
territory here.
yeah, maybe a little bit, just how you think sort of the game ended, and did you like
I don't know.
it?
Like I said, the game's charm is in the puzzles, but the story there, I mean, I don't think we really need to even talk about the story, because it is a very charming story, and it progresses as you progress through the game. So that we could actually do like our first ever spoiler-free review of a game if we just kind of simply state that it is a really good story.
Yeah, that's
I'll
true.
say my opinion on it. It's a really good story, and as you go through the 9 different chapters and it unlocks or opens up the mystery, I think it's worth the what's it called, the voyage through this game.
I think
Through
so.
the
That's fair.
frustration and the
I will
joy
ask.
of the puzzles.
I will ask this then. Do you like how the mystery of Saint Mystere resolved at the end?
Yeah, it was clever. I
I
liked
did.
it.
I
Did you
liked
see-
it too because the ending actually affects future games as
Oh,
well.
really?
Ooh.
Because when the ending happens, there's a certain thing that Professor Layton takes with him and Luke that shows up in future games.
Okay. Yeah. And if you know, you know.
Yeah,
And
I'm not going to say what it is because that would just basically ruin everything. But I'll tell you guys after we record or done.
Sure.
Oh yeah, ruin it for me. I would say no. I would.
And
say,
what I
you
will
haven't
ask.
finished it yet?
no,
Oh,
I finished it.
go
Oh,
on.
it would just ruin this game. Okay, I was like, don't ruin the future ones. I want to play them.
No, it's not going to ruin any future game. It's quite obvious. I mean, but I'm not going to get
Oh yeah,
into it now.
let's
So
not.
let-
Yeah,
I am definitely going to play future games of this.
Yeah, if you're
I've got
listening to
them.
this
Oh, yeah.
and you have access to a DS, like these are pretty reasonably priced for the most part. It sounds like.
you don't even need access to a DS. It's on Android and Apple.
Oh,
phones.
you did-
You can get it for I think, like for free, and they're HD upgrades. So it's
for free.
Oh.
it's not. Well, I don't know if they're free. I can't remember, but they're like less than $10.
Yeah, let me check I'm gonna check the App Store. That's a really great way to play it because like if you can't like obviously the DS is fun to play on, just in general. But as long as you've got a touch screen, a phone, especially like on a larger phone or a tablet, these would be perfect games to play on those.
Definitely.
Okay, the ones I don't have are showing up at $21.99 Canadian. So
Oh.
Yeah, they're reasonably
maybe
priced
it
on
was
here.
only maybe it was only the first few that were cheap.
Still, it's a good idea though.
There's looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's some mobile games too that are free to play. Layton Brothers.
I don't
Mysteries.
trust free.
Yeah, I mean I don't either. I mean you can feel free to try them or whatever. I'm sure there's fun puzzles and stuff, but yeah, it looks like these are available on mobile. I would implore people to try this game out. $10 on your phone.
Yeah.
That's a steal, and it's always in your pocket. You can just kind of play with it whenever you have time. Like Alan said, it's perfect for like a bus ride. If you commute in the morning on a bus or a train, or some downtime at work or whatever, you're just fucking around doom scrolling.
Something to wake your brain up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, I've got one question for you, and I'm going to try and ask it as spoiler-free as possible. I'm assuming that this has to be the case, but there is a character that shows up in this game, a sort of Moriarty, if you will, to Sherlock Holmes. I'm assuming he turns up in other games as well.
He is considered Layton's arch rival, yes.
Okay.
Because
And
I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I won't say any more, and I really want to see more of him because I want to know what he's all about.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah,
I liked that character.
you know what? I'm just going to say his name. It's Don Paolo.
That's it, Don Paolo. Yeah.
He's just he's considered Professor Layton's arch rival. I think he shows up in a couple more games. He might not show up in all of them.
He gave me Robotnik
like the way
vibes.
that-
He's like Dr. Robotnik.
True. What I love most though is like he showed up and like stirred up all this shit and then sort of fucked off, and they were just like, Layton, who's this guy? And he's just like, I have no idea. It's just like, I have no fucking idea who this guy is. It's just like that. I love that. That was brilliant.
We went to school together, but I don't know why he has any problem with me.
Yeah. All
'Cause
right.
Luke belonged to Don Paolo first.
There you go.
Turns out Layton
Spoiled
stole
it
his
for me.
girlfriend.
Ah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Again, go back to my Luke comment. Wink.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap things up then. I think we've said all we're going to say about this game. Who wants to go first?
I can go first on this one.
Do it.
I'm simply going to state that when I first bought this game, I knew nothing about the series, but looking at the back of it, knowing it was made by Level 5 was the thing that enticed me to buy it. And I loved every minute of it. The puzzle solving was done so well, integrated so well into the story of this game. The characters were charming. Luke, the dynamic between Luke and Professor Layton himself, like Herschel Layton, if you don't know his name, it's innocent relationship there, where Layton is teaching Luke how to be, you know, a proper gentleman and a what do you call it, detective. And as you progress through this story and you get through the different puzzles, you don't feel overwhelmed with anything at any point. Like, it's a very calm game if you want to sit back and just enjoy something without having to, I guess, learn to beat harder parts. Like, the puzzles themselves are your challenge. And let's be honest, if you get to a point where you can't beat the puzzle, jump online, find the solution, move on, because honestly, the only roadblock is that, and it's not worth, you know, sitting there and stopping the game for one puzzle. The sound, the music, everything in this game is just charming as fuck, and I don't think my life could get any better now that I've played the game, because it honestly led me down a rabbit hole of finding and buying as many of these as I could. And I've replayed this particular game about 4 or 5 times now, and it doesn't get old, because you give it give it a year and all the puzzles are pretty much brand new again. I think I remembered like 2 or 3 puzzles. So overall, I'm going to give this game a solid 9 out of 10. I think it's going to lose a little bit. I mentioned it earlier about Luke talking to cats. I think that's a stupid trope, and probably the only thing that really bothers me about this game. Everything else is just, it's perfect.
Nice. Very, very respectable.
Yeah, I was going to ask about replay. Like, sorry, Alan. I was going to ask about replay.
No.
It's like, I've played it now. Will I ever be able to play it again knowing what I know? It's like, sounds like yes.
Take a Q-tip, push it in until you forget your children's names, and then start the game over.
Got it.
And this time, do make sure you forget maths.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, like, oh, I forgot math. It's like, oh, no, I need that for the fucking goddamn... Yeah. All right.
That's where you take the Q-tip into the other ear and you push it and reset.
Yeah.
There you go. Or take a screenshot somehow. So I guess I'll go next, because like this is a game series that I was very much intrigued by. I mean, I played what's the one that's almost synonymous with this?
Phoenix Wright?
Phoenix Wright.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's actually a crossover between these two.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I kind of associate the two. And I was just like, I kind of dug that style of gameplay. And I was just like, okay, well, what else is out there? Well, I hear this Professor Layton is good. And then when you, Brian, were singing this game's praises, I just thought, well, they're cheap, they're cheerful. I'm always on the lookout for new games for the DS. So fuck it. Why not? I'll pick 3 of them up in one go and hope for the best. And I didn't know what to expect going in. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I mean, okay, the puzzles are a mixed bag, and it's not really fair to... This is going to sound stupid, but it's not really fair to judge a puzzle game on its puzzles, because there's such a huge variety in this game that some of them you're going to get on with and some of them you're just not, because we all have different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to lateral thinking. Where this, could have been just a simple puzzle game, I appreciate the fact that they went above and beyond with how that package is presented. I mean, the game looks gorgeous. It absolutely oozes charm. The voice acting is... I would say the voice acting is maybe just a hint of cheese, but in that really sort of whimsical, like, enjoyable way, if that makes sense. It has to be light and playful to play to the style. My concern with a game like this, and puzzle games in general, is the sort of case of diminishing returns. Now, Brian, you say that you've played this over and over again and it's like new. I don't know that will necessarily be the case for everyone. I do think that, once... The more you play a game like this, the less appealing another replay becomes.
Well, if you have a goldfish memory like mine, it's fun.
I mean, I do for most things. Something like this, I'll probably remember. That said, there are, 5 or 6 other games in this series, so move on to the next one and just carry on having fun. The music did annoy me at times. It's a minor gripe, but it is there. I don't know, it was fun. I don't regret picking 3 of these up on the hop, I will play the rest of them, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy them even more than I enjoyed this one. I don't think I can go quite as high as a 9, although I don't think I can go quite as low as the 7.5 that I was originally thinking. So I guess that lands me on an 8.
8's still a respectable score. 8's an A.
It is. And that brings us to Sam.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
Bring us home.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I've had this game, in the back pocket for a long time, looking forward to playing it, just kind of waiting for the opportunity to present itself on the show. And I'm glad we did, because I had a lot of fun with this, especially after the, just wrapping up fucking Fire Emblem being what it was, a different kind of puzzle for my brain. Yeah, I did appreciate it. It's fun. It's charming. I never didn't feel like playing it. I just kind of like had my DS around all week and just would chip away at it. It's not a long game. I think that's another point in its favor, is that, I think a game of this type that, average gameplay length would stretch on into the, 20, 30 hour mark, I think would overstay its welcome quite a bit. And I think this game got in, did what it did, and got out in a reasonable amount of time, and I had a lot of fun with it. I do agree with Alan. I think you might see diminishing returns on replay, but I didn't fully explore all the options on the cartridge. It looks like, obviously you can clean up whatever puzzles you didn't get to before you finish the story. I didn't complete all of them. And there are some sounds like there's some bonus, features and stuff that I didn't explore, but, give it some time. And if this is still sitting in your collection, a couple of years later, throw it in again and have some fun with it. If nothing, to just kind of play through the story again, because it's charming. I definitely will be looking forward to picking more of these up. They're frequently in the case at the game shop that I frequent. So I may even pop down there later this week and see if they've got a couple more. And obviously you mentioned the Phoenix Wright crossover. I had so much fun with this that I'd like to try a Phoenix Wright, or what's the other character? It's a Phoenix Wright, and then there's it's not important. Whatever. These types of games are fun. The puzzles, the story, and everything. It's all put together in a way that's really charming. So, you guys can split me right down the middle, because I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Hell yeah!
It would be my pleasure. A gentleman always shares. Do you know, Sam? Do you know, sidebar? Do you know what I fucking love about you?
Yeah.
It's that
I'm just waiting for it.
If you guys could hear the way that Sam talks about games in our little chat on Discord,
yeah,
you would think you would give this game like a 4 at most. Like you have the most outstanding gamer rage here at Retrotopia Towers, and I never know what score you're going to end up landing on, because it's always a fucking surprise.
I
appreciate that about you.
I really did hate the math problems, I will say, but as we were talking about it, we were saying like there's puzzles in this game that are going to challenge you in ways, and just your brain is just not wrapping around this particular puzzle for whatever reason. Like we said, like a 10 Picaret puzzle is going to fucking stump you, and then you're going to get the 70 Picaret one in like 2 seconds, so I don't know. I kind of thought of it from that perspective. It's like the math problems are just not for me, because I go into math mode and I'm like, I got to do calculations. Whereas like, the solution is actually more of a riddle than a puzzle. So I don't know. I talked myself down from some of my issues, but like, some of the puzzles really did piss me off.
You dealt with your problems.
Yeah, my anger burns.
I love this being your therapy.
Yeah, my anger burns hot and quickly, and then I forget about it, and it's fine.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess that brings us home then. We've been talking about Professor Layton and the Curious Village for the Nintendo DS. And you know what, Sam? Why don't you tell the fine people not only where they can hear us and what they can do and how they can interact with us and all of that good shit? Let them know.
Oh, sure. Well, if you're listening to this, you're already hearing us. So you got that box checked. But you can find us pretty much anywhere. And go to our link tree. That's lanktr.ee, and that's where you can find links to all sorts of good stuff, including our Discord and our Patreon, which are free. Socials and all that stuff. I don't know. Linktree. That's where it's all at. And the merch. Don't forget the merch. Get yourself a Retrotopia t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, yeah. That new one that you've come up with, Brian, that's hot. You do some good work over there.
I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, they all look good.
Yeah. I will be looking to pick one of those up for myself because that shit is hot. And you guys can look as cool as we do. Buy some merch. Why not? Just support the show. And if you don't, just listen, like, share, review. You know, just get some word of mouth going and let people know that you enjoyed what you heard. All right, then. Well, thanks, Sam, the boy. And thanks to Professor Brian. And I guess that's it for another episode of Retrotopia. What we got next week, Brian?
Oh, Jesus, bye. Next week we have Mortal Kombat!
I mean, there was literally no other way to say that.
No, there wasn't.
There is not. I don't know how to say it without yelling.
No, you have to yell. It's the rules. We don't make the rules, we just enforce them. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. And if you need a hint, I've got one for you. Listen to Retrotopia.
Oh, I have one last thing to say before we go. While we've been talking, Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered has been announced.
Shut up. What?